And what I love about us, about our conversations is that we're both in the trenches every single day. We're building companies, we're developing teams, and we're also living a life, right? It's awesome to hear about you and Ty and about you and your family and about the way you treat your team like family. So, I love that. I love that you're in Club 28. I love the conversations that we have when we talk in that. And although all of our conversations are focused mostly on or a lot on growing revenue, not mostly, but a lot on, they're also focused on paperwork and contracts and relationships and picking money up that's being left on the table and systematizing things along the way. So you could go from 5 to 10 million or 10 million to 20 million or 30 million or 50 million. And every new level of growth kind of becomes your new low, because now there's systems in place, there's people in place, there's people who are taking ownership of those systems. But it doesn't start that way, right?
Right.
And that's kind of what I was hoping today was going to be all about, going through how it starts, going through the mental good and the mental anguish and the shit that people don't talk about really when they're growing.
Yeah,
So,
for sure.
yeah. So that's it. Like you, before we started recording, I was mentioning a couple of things that I was hoping we could go over, because some of the topics that you and I have covered and that you have just blazed through are rebranding a company. And by the way, I'm going to touch on things that take people 6 months to a year sometimes. And all these things, including so much more you've done over the last year or so, right? It's rebranding, it's creating a new company, it's partnership contracts, right? It's annual team meetings. Whoa, that's a huge thing. And you got that up coming up this weekend. Key metrics, developing key metrics, and taking an online business offline and talking about potentially going into stores, right? So all these massive things that literally are stumbling blocks in so many companies' lives, you're just banging through. Like every week we talk about new shit.
Oh, it's been, well, as you know, having witnessed it firsthand, it's quite the whirlwind, and getting right back to the start of it, and again, scale is, everybody in the internet world, scale means we're scaling, and that just means front end acquisition. They're not really scaling. What they're doing is making more sales. And
most people don't know what the word scale actually means.
Yeah,
hey, I ran a new launch.
Yeah, oh, we're scaling, and it's like, what? Sorry, what you're making more sales? Awesome. You're not scaling yet, because when you start that process, it looks very different than just having a funnel that works. Like a lot of, you get one funnel that works, that's fine, and that can be the seed to develop the systems and the processes that you need to scale. And so, those two things need to be very clear, because some of the people that we come across, whether it's online or offline, they just don't understand exactly what that means. And for us, we certainly fell victim to that in some respect. It's a catch-22. You can come to these systems and the personnel in order to make some of these things happen, whether it's buying media, whether it's hiring customer service, whether it's building really good experience for your customer in the back end. It all takes money, and sometimes you need to just focus on one channel, and that channel being acquisition up front to initiate that process. But if you simply rely on that, you'll be dead inside 6 months, 7 months, or whatever the life of that offer might be. And it's pretty rare for people to have multiple unicorns that can generate 30, 40, 50 million dollars in a year. And if you are successful in that way, and you have that ability to do that, then that's wonderful. And maybe that's the only model you ever run. But to build something sustainable that you can actually put your name on, where you're not just grabbing a customer, squeezing the lemon for everything it's worth, and chucking it out the door in that kind of and churn way to build that brand that really, might catch the eye of a larger company that might fit into their scheme of growth or whatever, and be acquired. Takes a lot of work.
Yeah. So it's the difference between building a product that does well or building a brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's define scale, because I think the great number of people, it's this vague grayness in front of them when like you and I were joking before, and we've joked in the past about scale being, hey, I ran a new launch, we're scaled, oh terrific, or you know what, I'm scaling my media spend. Like
Yeah, well, that's the biggest one. Yeah.
it's thrown out there because it makes people sound intelligent when they say it, but scaling a company is something that is creating a duplicatable process. So it's growing, right? So doing what, like you have a very, very strong core competency that helps a company to grow. And there's a lot of internet marketers, there's a lot of online businesses, offline businesses, entrepreneurs, leaders that can get that initial momentum, but don't understand how to maintain that momentum. So scaling is really growing and then putting systems in place to support that growth, and then putting a team in place to support those systems, and then growing more and putting systems in place to support that growth, and putting teams in place to support that systems, and then looking back and making sure that these old systems are updated so that trajectory can be continued, right? That's scale, so that you and I can sleep at night. No matter what stage of growth you're at, we all need an unbiased review of what's working and also what might not be working anymore in our business. Because the greatest cause of stagnation in any company, the reason most companies hit plateaus in their growth, is because they fail to see the roadblocks that stop momentum in its tracks.